I want to welcome Dan Meadow from Catholic Central High School. He's a local history teacher. He has taught all three of my kids. And I got to say, man, you are one of the people that I love having. You don't know this, but on my bench of people that I can call in from the bullpen and I can say, if I want a dose of inspiration or I want a dose of passion and purpose, you're ready to take them out.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you a great teacher. So why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about what you teach and how long you've been doing this?
Oh, I've been there for 13 years. I've taught primarily U.S. history and AP psychology. And, I live it every single day.
You do live it. You do live it, but you also love it.
I think you have to. I think you have to love what you do as a job, right? You have to. You're doing this for half of your life.
Right.
You better love it. And that's what I tell the kids. I'm like, don't worry about the money. There's always money in somewhere. There's always money in some fashion that you can find. You got to love what you do. Otherwise, you're going to spend Monday through Friday dreading every single day for 2 days. It's not worth it. The first thing that was told to me by one of my mentors at Catholic Central when I student taught there, the first thing he told me was make sure the students are having fun in class and you can teach them anything. Mm-hmm. And it's the absolute truth. Make sure they're having fun and you can teach them anything. And so, goal number one is let's find ways to have fun. Now, luckily, I think my name holds some sort of weight there where the students automatically assume that we're going to have fun in class. The first couple of years was a little bit more challenging. I was new.
You've raised the bar. I want you to talk a little bit about 2 trips in particular that you plan. And it's every year, correct?
Well, Gettysburg is every year, and then the Civil Rights trip is every other year.
What I want you to talk about is tell us a little bit about that trip, the journey you and the kids go on, and why you felt that it was important.
So when I got to Catholic Central, the trip already existed. The teacher before me, Dr. Gardner, he was the one that actually put the trip together. So then when I took the job, the trip existed. And so the expectation was you're going to take kids to Gettysburg. Like, this was not an original idea by me.
I want you to talk a little bit. Let's start with the Civil Rights trip.
The teacher at Catholic Central before me, who I student taught underneath, who organized the Gettysburg trip originally, Dr. Gardner, he now lives and teaches in Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. At that time, he was in Columbus, Georgia. And so I sent him just a very broad email of saying, hey, I want to take kids on a civil rights trip. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think you could help? And within the day, he gave me emails don't come in pages, but probably about a 6-page email of just like, this is a great idea. Here are the different things that you can do. Here's the things that I do with my students. If you need help, let me know. And so it just kind of birthed that moment.
And listen, the two are linked. Your trip to Gettysburg and the entire why behind the Civil War.
Yes.
Right. And then the aftermath of all of that. Right.
Yeah.
There's this wonderful natural link between that trip, Gettysburg, and then the Civil Rights trip. Give me some of the highlights of the Civil Rights trip that are some of your favorite moments.
Montgomery has so much stuff. The best tour guide in the country is Miss Wanda Howard Battle at the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church. She welcomes you in, and it is like you have been best friends for your entire lives. The first thing she does is she gets each kid up. It is the smartest thing in the world. She gets each kid up one at a time. They have to introduce themselves to her. Now, mind you, these are 15 to 17-year-old kids who are very unsure about a very charismatic woman in the front who is loud, boisterous, and loves to sing, and welcomes you with song and welcomes you with a hug. And these are kids who are very self-conscious about themselves. And she gets them up, has them say their name and one thing that they like about themselves. And she will remember everything.
Wow.
She will take this entire tour. The last time we were there, it's supposed to be an hour tour. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. The last one was over 2 hours long. She had us in there. And at the end, she remembers I've got the last trip. It was 20 kids. It was 11 parents. She remembers everyone and the things about them, and she incorporates it. She makes you feel like, there are tears shed at the end of the tour, but in happiness that these kids feel like they are the most important person at that moment. And what's amazing about her is we leave and another group comes in and she does the exact same thing.
You are cut from that cloth of, I get the sense that you can't wait to hold court. Even if it's homeroom or even if it's...
I tell students Monday's my favorite day of the week. You got endless possibilities.
So right? Don't you want all your educators to feel that
absolutely.
way? Like, that's why he's
here.
I love
Mondays.
And here's the thing, like I tell the students all the time, psychology is a really powerful thing. I teach psychology. Our brain has an ability to sort of trick itself into liking things. And so if you come in on Monday and you're like, today's going to be a miserable day, it's going to be a miserable day. But if you come in and you're like, hey, it could be a pretty good day, I might learn something, you might still not learn something and it might still be miserable, but there's a small chance or maybe a bigger chance that it's going to be a good day. I have to come with energy because if I expect them to come with energy and I'm not, then we're not going to get anywhere. The passion, I mean, I have a natural passion for it, but sometimes I got to fake it.
Yeah.
Because not every morning am I ready to talk about Salem, Massachusetts. Not every morning am I ready to talk about the Boston Tea Party, but you just have to do it some days. Mm-hmm. And if you're expecting the students to be engaged and excited about it and not looking at their phone or taking a nap, then I have to be excited about it to try and pull it out of them.
Well, what would you say is your favorite thing about teaching? I know that that's a hard question.
It's the challenge I get from students, but not a challenge in like a defiance. It's the challenge of they show up and it's, what do you got for me today? I want to be the best teacher. Like that's the goal every single day is to be no matter what profession you're in, you should be the best at it or you should want to be the best at it. No one wakes up and says, I want to be a mediocre nurse. If so, you shouldn't be a nurse, right? No one wakes up and says, I want to be a mediocre teacher. Right. I hope not, because then go into something else. And so I tell the students, I'm like, I compete every single day. And my competition, and it's not like they're doing this intentionally, but it's just what do you got for me today? I got
so the
40
students give you the challenge.
Yeah, they're not doing it intentionally.
No.
It's just an indirect challenge. I got 44 minutes to either inspire them, educate them, or get them to do something where they're like, that was pretty fun, and I'll move on. The vast majority of my students, 99.9% of my students are not going to go into any sort of history field. But hopefully they can see through the passion that I show out there, or they can be inspired by one of the stories I tell, or they can just be inspired by the field itself to maybe go, this was pretty cool. This was pretty neat. This was pretty important.
Well, honestly, Dan, we could talk about this all morning, but I can't say enough. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. This
to
is fun.
talk to us about this.